Hi, good evening, and welcome to another Digital Samba release notes walkthrough. As you can see, we're beachside today. We'll be looking at Digital Samba 619. I have a really cool place picked out for us just over there with a beach view. I really look forward to showing you what we have in Digital Samba 619. So let's get stuck right in. All right, so here we are. We're looking at Digital Samba 619. As we can see, this is available from 8th of August, 2025. And I already know this is a really exciting one. We're announcing private whiteboards. So this is a really cool new feature, particularly in e-learning. We've also got a big new design feature. Basically, we have this big red button over here, which makes leaving sessions all the more easier. And there's a new file sharing option as well, which again is really cool when you're collaborating with others and want to share files within the Digital Samba interface without having to push them into other tools or so on. All right, so let's have a look first at the new private whiteboards feature. I'm going to jump straight into a demo over here, but this is a bit of a sneak preview of what this looks like. You basically have an option to make whiteboards private. So let's jump over into Digital Samba session and open our content library. And I've created myself a folder over here specifically for this demo. I can either do it over here and add a new whiteboard from these two new menu items, or now when you create a new whiteboard, you also have these two new options. So you can either open it directly in a public state or in a private state. I'll first start with a public whiteboard. The whiteboard appears in my content library just as before, and of course I can edit it to my heart's desire. Whatever I do here is also seen by other participants. But let's say I wanted to prepare some content without my students or other participants. Maybe there are certain roles in the room that you don't want to see what's happening on the whiteboard. Then you can now switch from public mode into private mode. And you get a warning over here that lets you know that this whiteboard is currently public and visible to everyone. Making it private will restrict visibility only to moderators. Are you sure you want to proceed? And if I am, which I am, then I am going to click the Make Private button. And we now have this new indicator of this dotted outline and a blue icon over here. And also inside your content library, you can see that this whiteboard is now private. And this means that only moderators can see the contents of this whiteboard or even aware that this whiteboard is open. So, really useful if you want to pre-prepare content or work on something on an A side while there are other users in the room. And if you at any point in time want to make the whiteboard public, again, you can simply click over here or over there. I'll use this button this time around. And again, it lets me know this whiteboard is currently only visible to moderators. Making it public will allow everyone to see it. Are you sure you want to proceed? So we'll do that, make public. And just as you might expect, this whiteboard is now visible to everyone. So that's the new private whiteboards feature. Let's shut this down and see what we have next. So the next feature on our list is this beautiful big red button, which basically makes leaving and ending sessions much easier. Let's go back into our room and you can see it down here. You simply click this button and the menu that you already know and love appears over here, and you can simply leave the session or end the session for all. Nothing has changed here. So if I click end session for all, I can disconnect all the participants, or if I leave sessions, then I will just leave on my own. I won't do this now because we're not done with it yet. Let's see what's next. All right. So now that we're done looking at big red button, let's have a look at the new share and stop sharing options. So this is slightly different from the whiteboard. If I now go back into this session and open my content library and say I wanted to make this content type available to people in the room who do not have access to all the files in the room. I want to make only very specific files available to them. I can now use this share option, click on it, and I will share whiteboard 1 with everyone in the room and share it. And I now see an indicator that this is shared. So what does this mean? This now means that It doesn't mean that I opened the whiteboard for everybody to see, but if I go back into the content library, we can now see this new shared folder over here. And the shared folder has content that was shared by moderators. So if you say were a student and didn't have access to all other files that the moderator might be able to see, you could still share content with particular users via this new shared files feature. Again, really, really useful in your day-to-day. So I look forward to seeing what you're going to do with it. So let's see what's next. All right, so I think that was it with the main features. As always, there's always a bug fix. And thanks for watching. All right, so that was Digital Samba 619. I hope you loved it. Private whiteboard and the big red button. Huge new features. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Hasta la próxima.